thanks everyone for joining the Good Exchange's online crowdfunding at Christmas webinar. We've got a lot of content to go through this morning, so I'll just go through the few details, and here's the agenda. So I'm going to hand over in a minute to Misha Wallace, who's our client support manager, who's going to go through a fundraising checklist. Hi, Misha.
Hiya.
And then hand over to Julian May, who's our collaborative funding manager, who's going to talk about the power of storytelling and why it's important to tell your story. And then Helen Carlisle, who's our systems lead and technical manager, is going to give you some ideas for virtual fundraising and also some hints and tips about how to use the Good Exchange platform to make your project more findable. And then finally, I'm going to go through some hints and tips for creating and using content, for example, social media, videos, and all those sorts of things that are so useful at Christmas. And then we'll finish up with a question and answer session. Now, I think most of you are probably highly familiar with Zoom and have been on hundreds of Zoom calls over the last few months, but just in case anyone's new, if you want to ask a question during the webinar, there's a Q&A button. You should see it on a toolbar, either at the top or bottom of your screen. And if you just click on the Q&A button, you'll get a box popping up and you can type your question in and send it, and we will see it and we'll either answer it in real time or we'll save it for the Q&A at the end. So I'm going to hand over to Misha, over to you, who's going to talk through the fundraising checklist.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. So I'm going to go through, first of all this morning, a little bit about fundraising, mainly via your project on the Good Exchange, and some bits you can do to really get the word out there about your project. Hey, Marina? Thank you. So first of all, basically some hints and tips here on how to promote your fundraising project that you have live at the moment and how to really get those donations coming in. So first and foremost, your website. So it can be a really good idea to add a link to your organisation page on the Good Exchange onto your own website, your organisation's website. Now you may have a section there for how to donate, for example, to guide people to let them know the different ways that they can donate to you. So if you add a link to your organisation page on the Good Exchange, people visiting your website can click on that and come through and support you. Add a little bit of text there with the link to let people know about your project, about the Good Exchange, and especially if you have match funding available. If people know that their donations will be doubled, that's an amazing incentive for them to support you. Now, the reason we say guide people to your organisation page rather than your project page is because eventually your project will close. It will become fully funded or you'll close it down. So eventually that link that you have on your website would become redundant. So you always want people to be able to see your current projects that you're running, and they can see that via the organisation page. It will always list all of your current projects on there for people to click on. That's a good first tip, is to start with your website. Now, fundraising events, especially at the moment, you might be looking to run fundraising events, virtual ones such as quizzes, coffee mornings, different bits and pieces online, and we're going to go through that a little bit more for you later on. Helen's going to cover that for you. You can actually add the proceeds from any events that you're running onto your project. Some people don't realise that. So if you go onto your project page, same way as a donor would, click on Donate Now. You can use a credit or a debit card to add those proceeds onto your project. Now, if you can't do that via credit card, you know, some of you won't have cards for your organisations, you can donate instead via backs or cheque. But the quickest method is to do that by a card if you can. Now, of course, it's even better to get any donors to come through to your project themselves, because if they do that, they can then also add gift aid if you're set up for gift aid on the platform. Of course, that's extra funds for your project, so do guide people wherever you can to make the donations themselves on there. Now, this time of year, we've got Christmas Jumper Day coming up, so for example, you could get a local school or any of your current supporters to come in and support your project. Maybe they can give a small donation on Christmas Jumper Day for doing something in their own organisation or at home. So it's just a little quick tip on something else you can do. Now, in terms of what I've just mentioned there, I've got a couple of resources, but you'll have all of these at the end of the webinar anyway, so don't worry about scribbling anything down. We'll give you the slides at the end. But we've just given you some tips on how to add a fundraising event onto your project page so people know the different things you're doing and how to make a donation that you can use yourself or you can give out to your donors. Now, one of the key things for fundraising is using social media. So if you have social media for your organisation, you may have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, any of those, you can use those to help drive donations, and it's extremely effective for increasing the audience for your project and bringing in more funding for you. So a key thing to do is to create exciting posts and tweets about your project on the pages that you have to help inform your supporters about the activities you're doing and your cause. And a really, really good thing to do, especially over Christmas, if you can, is to schedule multiple posts to go out. Now, you can schedule posts using a free online tool, something like Hootsuite, which is exactly what we use, or you can do that directly on Facebook. Now, scheduling posts is a great thing because you're assigning a time and a date for the post to be published on your page. And it means that you can be posting content even at times when you're not there, you're not available. So you're maintaining that presence on your pages because, especially over Christmas, you'll have people sitting at home on their phones, having a look at your project, having a look at your pages. So a great time to do that. And again, we've added some resources on doing all of this. We've got some webinars on how to set up social media pages, even if you don't have one. We've got some on more advanced use and what you can do, and some bits about scheduling posts on Facebook and on free tools like Hootsuite. Now, I've popped in some examples below talking about social media. These are some really strong examples of some fundraisers and some applicants who were raising money to support a particular project on the Good Exchange. And you can see here, these have got some fantastic content, fantastic images and activity ideas. So the first one on the left here was Amazing Jane from Friends of Castle School, who was raising funds for a hydrotherapy pool. And she herself undertook a fundraising challenge to run up and down the stairs 247 times to raise funds for that pool. And she did extremely well. She took advantage of match funding. And you can see there that she's done a really nice post telling people what she's done, lovely pictures, and she's tagged in the Good Exchange and the funder that was providing the match funding. So a really, really lovely post by Jane there. The one in the middle we've included, it's actually one of our posts, but Chris Bolton from Funder at Greenham Trust undertook his own fundraising activity to raise funds for the coronavirus appeal, the Greenham Trust one on the Good Exchange, and he was dancing solidly for a number of days to Northern Soul music, and he did extremely well again at raising funds there for that appeal. And he put a lovely video on there, and he had some pictures, and it's just really nice, exciting activity to do. And the third one there is a great idea, especially now. It's really difficult to get out, it's difficult to do things. So this particular applicant asked if people could donate what they would normally pay for a cup of coffee on one or more days towards the project. They're not being able to go out and get these things now, so why not donate the proceeds onto their project? And again, you've got a lovely post there, great pictures, some lovely pictures of their beneficiaries and their team, and some hashtags there, and tagging in other people. So 3 lovely examples. Now, there's a few bits you can do on your project page on the Good Exchange that can really increase the appeal of the page. And you do this in your dashboard under Edit Public Page. That's what that button is for. So the first of those things is you can add a really nice image onto your project page. You may have done this already. What we do notice is that quite often people will put a picture of their logo on their project page. But that's better placed on your organisation page. For your project, you want to attract people in, you want to let people know what your cause is about at a glance. So an image of people can be really, really strong and emotive for doing that. Even if it's your team, your beneficiaries, or just a stock image of people, that can really help to attract donations. So do think about what you could have as your main project image. You can also add further images onto your page as well. Just to further build up your page, just really increase that visual appeal. And if you're a bit stuck for images and you're not quite sure what to do, you can create free images really easily online using canva.com. It's a free online site for creating images. We use it all the time, and Marina's going to talk to you a little bit about that later in the webinar as well. Also on your project page, you can add videos. So you may have a video about your beneficiaries, a lovely case study, and you might want to put that onto your page as well for people to have a look. So you can add a YouTube link or another link using another method onto your project page. So a really, really great thing to have, and people's stories, case studies are amazing to have in support of your project to really get those donations coming in, and Julian's going to cover that a little bit later for you as well. Now, also on your page, you can add events. So I mentioned that a little bit earlier. If you're running a fundraising event, anything, quiz, coffee morning, anything like that can go on as an event. And it's really an information thing so that anyone visiting your page can see that you're running this event and they may want to join, come along and support what you're doing. And again, we've added some resources about everything I've mentioned there at the bottom, and these will also be available at the end of the webinar. Now, you may be sending out emails and newsletters to your supporters. It's a great idea to mention your project on the Good Exchange when you're doing that. So provide people with the link to the page, or give them some instructions on how to find your project, really get people coming in to support you. And if you also have regular other funders or corporate organisations, you can let them know that they could join the Good Exchange as a funder. If they do that, they'll be able to provide you with the funds they would normally give you as match funding, which again is a great incentive for donors. So it's getting that bit of extra impact. So do let them know if they'd like to join as a funder, get in touch with us and we can help them with that. Now, if you'd like to be kept regularly up to date with the funding on your project, or you'd like to keep your supporters up to date with how much match funding is left, for example, there's a really, really good report available. It's been on there a few months now. It's fairly new. On your dashboard in the report section, it's called the activity report, and it will give you a really good overview of all the funds coming into your project and when and if they have been paid out to you yet. And your treasurers, for example, will find that quite useful when they're having a look at the funds coming into your bank account. So do use that report as much as you can to track your funds on your projects. And finally, gift aid. If you haven't already nominated us as an agent to collect gift aid on your behalf, please do. There's some information on that, and we've given a link there. It's on our website, or you can contact me on support@thegoodexchange.com. It's all about getting that extra bit of funding for your organisation. Gift aid is hugely valuable, and there's so many organisations not taking advantage of that. So really, really important to do. Get in touch with me if you haven't set up gift aid already. And we've got a little bit of troubleshooting here. These are common issues that happen with the donors on the platform. We're making a few changes soon on the donor journey, so this might be a little bit different. But if you do have a donor who contacts you and said, oh, my donation isn't going through, I don't know what's happening, this is what it will be. So we've got a couple of examples here of reasons of why their donation isn't working out, and you can provide this to your donors if they contact you. So the first of those is, if your donor tells you that the donation, they've reached the end of the process and the screen is spinning, there's a little wheel spinning at the end. It's usually because one of the three things, they're using an American Express card, which we can't accept. They have particular security software on their computer called Kaspersky, which is fine, but they just have to go into that software and uncheck a little box to make the donation go through. And third of all, if they have typed in manually the link to your page as HTTP instead of HTTPS, then the page will not be a kind of secure version of the page, so no payments will go through if you're using that version. So do make sure all pages start with HTTPS. And if you're passing the link to your project along to the applicant, so the donor, do copy and paste the link. Don't type it in manually, because that can cause some problems with errors and typos and things. So copy and paste it where you can. And when you do it, make sure that you're logged out as well. Now, other reasons donors can get stuck in the process is they can get through the kind of first part of the donation, and it will say, oh, we recognise your email address, please enter your password. And they'll say, oh, I don't know what that is. The reason usually is that they've donated before a long time ago, but they can't remember, so they don't know their password. So all they have to do is just navigate away to the login page, click on forgotten password and change it over, and then start again. So in all of these scenarios, the donation has never come through, so tell them not to worry about that. Now, if you have any questions about any of this relating to the platform, you can always contact me on support@thegoodexchange.com. We're online only, not on the phone, but I will come back to you as soon as possible if you email me on that address. And we've also got a really excellent help and support page with lots of videos and tools and FAQs that can help you too. One quick thing to note as well is our info@ email address that we have on the website. That's really for kind of new donors or people not yet joined the platform. We have this dedicated support@thegoodexchange.com email address for all of you who are already users on the platform, so do use that if you can. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Misha. So some interesting hints and tips there based on sort of the number of questions that Misha gets when she's manning the support desk. So hopefully you'll find those useful. Now I'm going to hand over to Julian May, our collaborative funding manager, who's going to talk through the power of telling stories when you're fundraising. So over to you, Julian.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Misha. So good morning, everyone. I'm, as well as being Santa's head elf, I'm also in my spare time the head of collaborative funding for the Good Exchange and Greenham Trust. And this morning I'm going to be talking about the power of storytelling, particularly to attract public donors, but also to attract funders. And I'm also going to give you some hints and tips about how to pitch to funders and the kind of things that you need to include. So let's start off talking about introducing yourself and how to do it. It's really important that you describe who you are and who your beneficiaries are, so public donors and funders care about the cause that you are supporting. You need to clearly describe the problem that your beneficiaries face, and also the kinds of actions that you take to resolve those issues. So whether they are, whether it's food poverty or whether it's providing a service within the local community, within a village hall, or whether it's a very bespoke service for special educational needs, it's really important that you differentiate yourself in the way that you describe your service and say why you're needed and why you're unique. It's also really important to clearly explain what the result is of your service or provision that you provide and the difference that it's made to beneficiaries' lives. And there's a number of ways to do that. You can do that, as Misha says, by using tools like Canva, free tools, digital online tools, to explain and illustrate the benefit that your service is having, both from your perspective, but also, more importantly, from the beneficiary's perspective. Have the next slide, please, Marina. This, the Rockier experiment is a famous experiment in fundraising. You may have heard of it. It's research that was conducted by Carnegie Mellon University. And the experiment was really to demonstrate the power of storytelling in engaging public donors and funders. And it basically gave a different set of information to an audience who then had to decide whether they wanted to make a donation to Rockier. Rockier was a girl in Malawi, a drought-ridden area, suffering from food poverty. And the groups were given different sets of information. There were three different sets. One was Rockier's personal story and how the situation in her life affected her and her family. The other was a very strategic, statistically driven picture about the problem and issues faced in Malawi. And the third was a mixture of the two. And you quickly see from the next slide that the people who were given the personal story about Rockier gave the most money, in fact double the amount of money that was given where there was just a statistical information provided, with a slightly higher when there was a mixture of both statistics and a personally identifiable life. Next slide, please. What I'd suggest you do, it's important when you're making applications to appealing for public donations, but also to funders, to be very concise. People these days have got short attention spans and they're very busy. So it's really important that you get to the point really quickly and grab their attention. And many of you have got complex organisations with different goals and objectives. So one way to do this is to write down your key objectives, half a dozen or so, and then start to think about how you can distill those down to really find the essence of what your organisation does. So you halve that number, and then from that list of 3, try and get down to one single most important objective, the essence of what your organisation does, and clearly communicate that in your application or in your pitch to funders outside of platforms such as the Good Exchange. Have the next slide, please, Marina. So I'm just going to go through some hints and tips about how you can pitch to funders. So obviously in these COVID times, please God, hopefully we're going to get a successful vaccine and we're going to come out of this hopefully as soon as possible next year, but time will tell. So it's important that you very clearly look at whether the project or service is really needed, because that's what a funder is going to look at. The second thing is to look at is about eligibility. So we've got eligibility criteria on the funders' pages on the website. Just click on the magnifying glass in the top right-hand corner of the homepage of the Good Exchange and search for funders, and you'll see details about their funding schemes and the eligibility within those. So have a look at those. See if you're eligible before you start your application. I would advise you to get practiced in being able to describe what you do very clearly, what people in a business world call an elevator pitch. So who you are, why you're needed, and how you're different are the 3 sort of key questions there, which can be backed up with relevant information and context about why your service is needed. The other thing that is so important, both from a funder perspective as well as a public donor perspective, is emotional engagement. Now, funders are a human as well, and they engage with content if they can relate to the work that you're doing. So it's really powerful if you can, to let your beneficiaries tell their story and their experience of how your service has affected their lives for the better. And there's a number of different ways you can do that. And if you have very sensitive, vulnerable beneficiaries or clients, then you can do that anecdotally and anonymously as well. But it's important that you tell the story, tell their story. If they can do it themselves, all the better. There's a number of tools, as Misha's already alluded to, that can help you to do that. Photographs, videos. If you can, please include them on your applications on the Good Exchange. They will, tell your story much more powerfully and effectively than not including any images or video. Funders, especially at the moment in these times, are looking at how much social impact their money is making, and they will look to you to demonstrate what kind of impact their money has had in the local community. So they're increasingly scrutinising that and how you're measuring that. Again, this social impact can be measured in a number of different ways, not just in terms of numbers and pounds and pence and number of people that are benefiting, but also in the kind of softer and emotional impact that your services have on people's lives. So the more that you can reflect that, the more likely you are to receive further funding from funders. always be transparent with your accounts. Funders will look to your reserves, and they will look to see what funds have been earmarked for specific purposes. If there isn't the detail and split between your free reserves, the money that you don't have restricted in other projects, then funders will make an assumption that you've got money available. And so it's really important to just give that information about restricted and unrestricted reserves in your accounts if you are a larger organisation. And also, if you're a smaller organisation or a new organisation, be clear about what your budget is, what your balance sheet is, what you're going to do, how much money you've got, how much money you need. I'd always advise you, to be realistic about your project and what you can achieve. Funders will do, especially during these times, they will, sharpen that pencil and apply due diligence. Probably a bit with a bit more scrutiny than they used to. So be realistic about what you can achieve with your project, and you will be more successful. The other thing you can do is learn from your peers. So there's lots of projects on the Good Exchange. So have a look at them and see who else is doing is working in your sector, and learn from them. See the ones. See how they're communicating their projects and organisations and beneficiaries, and just finally, don't forget to claim gift aid if you are registered with HMRC. The Good Exchange is a gift aid agent, and if you give us permission for us to claim gift aid on your behalf, you will get all of that 25% tax relief. So it's always worth registering for gift aid on the Good Exchange, and we can give you that 25% boost to donations when the public make donations to your projects. Thank you. Finally, can we go back? Sorry. This is a good example where large charities use social media effectively and personal storytelling effectively. Everyone knows about the British Heart Foundation, obviously a huge charity. They're really effective at using personal beneficiary stories to help raise donations. Very simple, but very powerful and very personal. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Julian. So now I'm going to hand over to Helen, who's going to go through some ideas for virtual fundraising, because we've all been racking our brains throughout COVID, and we thought it'd be good to give you just a list all in one place of what some of the things that you can do and that some of our other charities on the platform have done. So over to you, Helen.
Thank you, Marina. Good morning, everybody. Thanks also to Julian. Yes, so we've all had fun actually over the summer and coming into winter of trying different ways of raising money. So I'm just going to talk about some of the ideas that we've had, some things that we've tried, and just hopefully to give you different ideas of things that you can do to fundraise. So something might be to set up a challenge and ask family and friends to donate to whatever it is you're doing. We've already seen Jane earlier claiming her stairs in aid of her cause. We've had people claiming the equivalent of Everest on their stairs, or perhaps even trying to replicate the Olympics in their back garden. Lots of people I see out running and cycling and so on. So again, it might be something that they would be happy to do in return for a donation. We've all been getting quite crafty. In our own office, we've actually been trying to replicate some masterpieces. And we've been amazed actually with things that people have created. And again, it might be something that people are happy to share their skills with other people in return for a donation, or even auction off the finished results. Virtual cookery lessons is also quite popular at the moment. My son, he's been learning to cook by somebody who lives 200 miles away from him, and again in return for a donation. So it's something, if you can make something that everybody asks how you do it. It might be something that you're happy to offer for your cause. Ready, Steady, Cook, some of you might remember that, the challenge that you get where you have see what's in your fridge and see what you can make from it, and donate what you would otherwise spend on a takeaway. We have had some coffee mornings. I know we can't meet in person, but you can still get together virtually on Zoom or Teams or other tools. And it's nice to be able to share that time with people. And again, you might want to donate the cup of coffee cost or the equivalent to your cause. Next week, we've got Double Matched Day coming up, and there's a few people who are trying different fundraising things. You might want to do guess the number of sweets in the jar, guess the weight of the Christmas cake, and actually next week we've got somebody who is asking people to guess the weight of her pony. I'm not quite sure how she's going to actually measure the weight of her pony. Haven't asked her that, but it is something a bit different, a bit fun, that people are interested in doing. Lots of us have been doing online quizzes. You can either create your own, or there are tools, ready-made quizzes out there, or tools that will help you create quizzes that people might like to take part in. We've also been doing lots of online games, and again, there are resources out there if you have a look around on the internet of different games that you can run as a group, have a bit of fun and get people to donate. And one thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later, but we would encourage you actually, is to use WhatsApp to share what it is you're doing with your groups. It might be sharing with family, it might be people that you might normally get together with in another capacity, but WhatsApp is really a fantastic way of sharing with your groups and passing on not only what you're doing, but also link to your project so that they can donate to it. Just some other ideas that we've tried. Some virtual horse racing, which was fun. We did all dress up and wear our posh hats when it was Ascot earlier in the year. And individuals have been doing different things too. Giving up things, trying new things. Maybe next week also we've got somebody who is going to be shaving off their beard that they've actually had for 30 years. So quite a big commitment there, but all in support of a good cause. And lots of sporting challenges as well that have been going on and are possible to do in these times. Here's just some links to some other ideas that we've been aware of through Third Sector and Charity Digital, and some hints and tips on how to really create your own campaign, but on a shoestring. You know, you don't need to spend a lot of money. There's lots of free tools, lots of free resources out there that you can use to your benefit. Other things that are popular this Christmas are maybe offering a virtual gift, or really encouraging people to give to charity rather than spend money on either a gift or an occasion. You know, there's a few companies who've said, look, we're not having a proper Christmas party this year. Instead of that, we would donate the money that we normally spend on our Christmas meal in support of a number of causes. So there is a lot of goodwill out there, and I think it's worth trying to tap into that. This is the Teenage Cancer Trust, so it's just some ideas of what they're actually doing this year. They've got a Rudolph raffle, again, traditional raffle, just done slightly differently if you can't actually sell tickets to people in person. Secret Santa they're not doing this year, but they're encouraging people to donate what you would normally spend on Secret Santa to their cause. And some other ideas around the kind of karaoke singing theme, or the traditional, like us today, wearing our Christmas jumper, wearing our Christmas hats, getting together, having a bit of fun and making a donation. So moving on now, we're going to talk more specifically about your project page on the Git Exchange, how to make sure that people can find that, And the key thing to bear in mind here is that they're all website pages, either your applicant organization page or your project page, and they can all be found by search engines. So it's just important to make sure that the content you've got on there allows those pages to be found. So talking a little bit about search engine optimization, SEO, something that a lot of people have heard of, but they're not entirely sure what it means possibly, or how to actually go about it. And really all it is making sure that you've optimized your website to get people who are searching online to the right place. So search engines like Google will continually scan all content across the internet. And they do that so that if people are searching for things, they can deliver relevant results to those people. And SEO, search engine optimization, is really just a process that you as an organization should set aside some time for, to make sure that all of your content is relevant, to make sure that Google will rank your site highly enough for people to find you when they're searching using either key phrases or keywords. So all of your content contributes towards this. So it's not only, don't think, oh, I just need to work on my website. You actually need to look at all of your digital content and make sure all of it contains the relevant information. So the more quality relevant content you've got, the more likely it is that you're going to be found. And we are aware that search engines are also using things that they find on social media sites in their algorithm to really show relevant results to people. And that's really having much more of an impact than it used to in the past. Next slide, please, Marina. So keywords are the main thing to focus on here. And they are part of the way that these search engines will find the content it's looking for. So what you need to do really is scan up your website, your fundraising page, including your project on the Good Exchange, making sure that you're using those keywords. So you can actually do this yourself for your own website. So pretend you know nothing about your organization and you only know what services it is you're operating or what things you can offer to people. And use those phrases to see if your own website or your own content actually comes up in Google. And if it doesn't, then think about changes that you could make to make sure it does. It's also useful maybe to look at similar organizations, see what keywords and phrases they're using on their websites and their content, and see if you need to include a bit more of that in your own website. And just coming to the final point, which we've already said really, is that remember that your fundraising page on the Good Exchange is also a website page. So really make sure you've got the content that you need in there to allow people to find you. So moving on now to things that you can do, holiday tagging and hashtagging. Now we will help you. If you promote your cause on social media, then we will help you by maybe liking your content and also sharing it. But unless you tag us in, we won't necessarily find your content. So the tags that you need to use for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are all at the Good Exchange. If you add that to your posts, we will be able to see what it is you're posting about and be able to interact and help you promote that. And Christmas time, obviously, there's lots of different hashtags that are popular, and this just gives you a list of popularity of different phrases that you might like to include in your content. So in practical terms, this is what it might look like. So you might want to look on, if you use Twitter, you might want to look to see what hashtags are trending and include those on your messages so that people will find that content. And this can help really increase your visibility to a wider audience other than your key supporters that you're already in touch with. So the one on the post on the left is Facebook one, and we've got hashtag Christmas in there, hashtag love and hashtag Xmas, and then again similar on the right for different causes. So here's some hints and tips when it comes to creating your own holiday hashtag. So have a think about what types of hashtags you want to use. It should be relevant to your message, unique, and not too long. So just pick one that you want to use, one or two. You might want to check that nobody else is using that. You don't want to be clashing with someone else. You want people to come to your content and not elsewhere. So create something that's unique to you and your audience. You should spread the word, and not just, if you're doing an event, not just use that hashtag on the day, but have a build up to that event. So start using it, you know, maybe 10 days before, and make sure that you include it in all your content, both online and offline content, emails, website, so on. Then as you go through the campaign, you want to monitor it, check who's actually using it in their messages, interact with their posts, make sure that you like them, you retweet, you share things, and really just engage with your audience, and they will hopefully engage back with you. And stay consistent. So, you know, if something works, stick with it. You might want to run it year after year. You want people to be able to find you and say, oh, they did that great thing last year. Let's see if I can find it if they're doing it again this year. So that really helps to keep your audience and get your message out there. And here again, we've just got some examples. This is with our own double match day, which is happening next Friday, 11th of December. So we have created hashtag Christmas DMD for Double Match Day, and also hashtag Double Match Day itself. And you can see in our tweet and our there's a Facebook post there how we have used those. So that just gives you something, an example of a post with a nice image, with your hashtags, with your tags in there. And the content and the link, most importantly, to your project page or wherever it is that you're trying to send your supporters to. And finally, we're just going to talk, and Misha's already mentioned this, about linking to your project page. So the key thing here is not to be logged in when you're doing that. If you share a link that you copy when you're logged in, you the link that people get, they would be asked to log in, and obviously if they wouldn't be able to log in. So make sure firstly that you're not logged in. Go up to the top of the page, the fundraising page, project page, copy the URL that shows up there. Sometimes they can be quite long, but if you put it in something like Twitter, then Twitter will automatically shorten it for you. So for example, at the bottom of the page, that's just an example of a URL that you would share that would take people to the project page. So it's goodexchange.com/project. Then it's got your project number, the name of your organization, and then the title of the project itself. Yeah, just to note, Instagram posts, you can't copy or click on them, but you can put the link in there and people can copy and paste it. And you need to update the link in your organization's Instagram bio on the day of your event if you're running a day. And don't forget, Misha mentioned this earlier, but don't forget to promote your project on your organization's own website, because sometimes people might hear about what it is you're doing or the cause, but they can't remember where to go for it. So the most likely place they are to go is your website. And if you don't have a link then to your fundraising project or to your applicant page, then people are not going to be able to support you. So please check your website. You might want to write a news story or a blog post about your project, or add a banner specifically about the cause, and add that link in there from the website.
Thanks, Helen. So that's some information about fundraising ideas, how to use the platform more effectively, how to get your messaging across. Now I'm going to talk you through how to make some fun holiday images like the Santa hat and things that we've got, and how to use the content online. So the first thing, you heard Misha mention a tool called Canva. If you haven't used Canva, it enables non-designers to make designs. So if you look at a lot of the images that we use for example, in the email invitation that you received, they were all created by me, who I'm not a graphic designer, using Canva. So it gives you customizable templates that are the right size for things like Facebook and Twitter. It gives you thousands or millions of images, and it enables you to resize them and upload your own photos. The good thing as well for charitable organizations, basic Canva's free for anyone, but there's a professional version which gives you a lot more photos, branding opportunities, resizing it, which is free for non-profit organizations. So I would suggest, if you have got Canva and you've got the free one, or you haven't got it, the best thing to do is to register here for the professional version for non-profits, and it won't cost you anything to get all that functionality. So as we said, you'll get sent all these slides anyway, so you'll have the link. So for example, if you want to create some campaign imagery, once you've got Canva, you just log in and create a design. And here I'm going to create a Twitter post. So you can see straight away, when I say create a design, I type Twitter in, and I've got a whole list here from Canva of automatically sized templates for Twitter. So I can choose which one I want, give it a name. So you can see here I was making an image for a webinar, and Canva will automatically give me a shape set up to make a Twitter post. And it also very helpfully gives me shapes that fit in the shape. So if I want to make a Twitter post with 4 boxes, I can just choose the grids of 4 boxes and drag them over. So it's all just click, drag, and you get everything you want. And you can see here, it's even suggesting for me some of the images I might want, or the designs. So you can see here, I want to make something. I'm making something for Berkshire Maestros for Double Match Day. So I just have to add my images by either choosing the ones that Canva gives me or uploading my own. So in this example, I started with a Twitter post, as I said. I added 4 rectangles to my Twitter post. I chose to frame it with a border, and then I coloured the border red by just tapping on that coloured square there. You can see here that I just chose the colour, so I'm automatically recolouring it. I then dragged the corners of it to fill in my Twitter post. I then uploaded the Berkshire Maestros logo, you can see, and then dragged it across to my Twitter post. I added some text, so they're promoting music workshops. They're trying to fundraise for music workshops. And then I typed in my photos box, school music, and chose these photos. So these photos are all free from Canva. So I didn't have to go away and spend lots of money searching for photos about school music. I didn't have to go and ask people or download some really poor quality or risk any copyright infringements. I could just get them free from the Canva image database. So you can see what I've got here then, let's just go back to this, is a completely perfectly sized Twitter post, which I can then download and use in Twitter as I wish. The other thing that I did, because I was making a post for Double Match Day where we've got 10 charities, is I made one of these for each of the 10 charities. And then I just made a Facebook post. This is our Facebook cover, and just dragged all the different images that I'd made into our Facebook cover. So you can see what I've made, being not a designer at all, is a Twitter post that's branded in the right colors with writing. And I've also made a Facebook cover using the similar imagery and a similar approach. So it's really easy for anyone to do that sort of thing. Now, you might have noticed that in our slides and all the posts and everything we've done, we've had images of Santa hats. Now, it's quite, you can go onto Google and look for Santa hat, but one of the problems you get is quite often they've got a background, or you're not allowed to use them because they're copyright. So again, I use Canva to get images that I can use in other things, because these are completely copyright free. So to get the Santa hats, I just went to Photos in Canva. I typed in Santa hat and made sure I picked an image that didn't have a background. You can see here it's quite clear whether they've got a background or not. And I just added that hat to a blank Canva template, so it didn't have any background or anything. And then the thing to make sure, if you want to use something like a Santa hat, is to go into Canva and click on these squares and make sure that your image is 100% transparent. So what that means is the background will not be visible when you use it. Then all you have to do is download it. And when you download it, make sure to tick that you've got a transparent background. And you can see here, you can see here that we've got crowns. Now those crowns mean that I'm using the Pro version. So as I said, as a charitable organisation, if you want to have all these extra functionalities, like having access to images with transparent backgrounds that you can use outside, make sure to get yourself the Pro version, which won't cost you anything. So then that's how I made the Canva hat. I saved it as a JPEG or a PNG, and then I can use it in all the slides. The other thing that I think Helen mentioned, and Nisha, is videos that we've made. Now, I'm not a video producer, but I've been making videos for social media using Canva, and it's a great new, easy to use facility. So the way to make a video with Canva, similar process that I just showed you with the Twitter post, you go log into Canva, create a design, but instead of selecting Twitter or something, you'll see there a new option called video. So you just click on video, and they've got here loads of templates. So what I usually do is just create one I like, and I have a look at it, and I like because it gives you the frames and the designs and things, and then you can just put your own images and your own colors and your own style on. So for example, this one here, it's a wedding video. I was making a video for Double Match Day, but I quite liked having the two boxes and the different styles and things. So I chose this wedding video, and you can either choose to use some of the video screens, or you can just apply all of them to your template. So I applied all 10 pages. I wanted to make a 10-page video. So you can see here what I did was, to that video, I then added my own images. And as you can see, I'd already made these 10 images for the 10 finalists in Double Match Day. So I could just drag those images into a page for each video. So what I'm making is a video for Double Match Day that features the 10 finalists. But what you could be making would be a video that features your fundraising project, or your appeal, or a beneficiary, or something like that. So what you do, what makes the difference between, I guess, a video and just a static image is you've got timings and you've got panning. So you can set the animation. So panning, it comes across, you can have it jumping up and down, tumbling in. But the good thing about Canva is you can play with these and see which ones you like. You can also set the timing for each page. So you can see here that this one is going to be on the screen in the video for 4 seconds. If you want to edit the timings, you just click on the stopwatch there, and you can change the timing. Now, if you're making a video for Instagram, it has to be less than 60 seconds. So if you want to see how long your video is, it tells you here. So you can see that my video is 55 seconds long. So when I've finished it and I download it, I know it will be suitable for Instagram. Also, the great thing is you can add music. I don't know if any of you have tried to add music to videos or posts and got to messages from Facebook and Instagram saying you're not allowed to use this music because it's copyright. The great thing about Canva music is it's not copyrighted. So actually, if you do get a message from Facebook, which I did the other day, you can just tell it that you have rights to use the music and for it to go away. So if you want to use music, and I was looking for some Christmas music, I just clicked on music there, and in the toolbar you can have vocals, instrumentals, make sure you tick the free, and then you just type in something. So I typed Christmas up here, you can see, and then I got a list of Christmas music, and all you have to do is just play it, and you can listen to it and see what it sounds like, so you don't have to add it to your video. When you're happy with it, just click on it and it will add that music automatically to your video. So you click on the video name, add it to your video. So now I've got a video with all my Christmas messaging, my Christmas music, my name. It's 55 seconds long. So I just go up to the top right and download the video, and it will download me an MP4 video. And I can even download different pages of it. So if I made a long video and I want to use just a short bit of it for something else, I can just download 2 pages of it, for example. And the other thing I mentioned here about the music, a great thing about Canva, if I connect my social accounts, which I have done, so Facebook and Twitter, the organisation ones, to Canva, when it posts those videos with the music in it, it automatically tells Facebook and Twitter and Instagram that I have rights to use that music. So then they don't come to me and say, we've blocked your video because you're using music. So I think video is a great thing. And you can see, I was going to put there, if you look on our social media post, you can see the Christmas video that I made for Double Match Day. And also, I know you can get lots of free imagery from Canva. There are other places that I've listed here where you can get images, photos, clip art and GIFs free, or you can get very cost-effective prices for getting images. So there's lots of places to get images and you don't have to pay Getty Images prices to get them. Now, Helen mentioned using WhatsApp. So I think the interesting thing that we see at the Good Exchange is we have a function on the Good Exchange to use WhatsApp to promote your projects. And everybody uses WhatsApp, but not many people actually use this functionality. So I just wanted a quick reminder of how to use it. So if you go to thegoodexchange.com on a phone and you tap on the burger menu and you find your project and you open your project on a mobile phone, you will see a share icon and you'll see the WhatsApp icon. So if you tap on the share icon and the WhatsApp icon and open that project in WhatsApp, it will automatically create you a WhatsApp message with a link to your project page. And you can pick here from your own phone WhatsApp address book people to send your WhatsApp message to. So you can add a personal message, say I've just donated or we're fundraising, why don't you do too, and send it to your contacts. And so therefore you've then sent a link to your project via WhatsApp. And we've got a video here, I think that Helen mentioned, that shows you exactly how to do that. Now I wanted to finish off by talking about live recordings. I think a lot of people get put off with live recording, or they think, oh, it's something that our kids do. But if you're doing fundraising activities outside, even now in COVID lockdown, it's great to have somebody there taking live recordings that you can use on social media, because it's real time and it encourages people to donate and to fundraise. So Facebook Live is a way of broadcasting from your organisation's Facebook page, from your Facebook group or from a Facebook event. So it's really useful when you're actually doing a fundraising activity. Now, I'm not going to go through all these tips. You can look at them later. But the best thing to do with Facebook Live is make sure you're prepared. So I've prepared a few words in advance about what it is you're doing. So we're doing the Virtual Olympics in the Stedman's Garden. Get to your Facebook page, and you might have noticed if you use Facebook that Facebook is pushing you to this thing called the Business Suite app. So the best thing to do is download Facebook Business Suite to your phone, and then you've got it there. Connect your organisation's Facebook page, and then it automatically will allow you to do Facebook Live and post Facebook posts directly from your organisation's Facebook page. So all you have to do to start Facebook Live is go to your organisation's page and tap on Publish, and then Live Video. Facebook, if you haven't done this before, it will ask you if you want to use, if you're allowed to use your camera, and there I'm ready to start my live video. So with a few taps, I can start a Facebook Live video, and that will automatically be streamed onto my organisation's Facebook page. So this is where you want to paste the description in, which is why I mentioned it's good to have one prepared earlier. And then you just start your live video, and it just goes for as long as you want it to go for. And then when you've finished, you can just tap on finish, and you can then save that video onto your Facebook page. So it's always going to be there if you want to have it, or if you don't like it, you can delete it. So a really great way of using Facebook to engage in real time with your followers. And you can do a very similar thing with Instagram. Now, my kids use Instagram all the time, and I was thinking, oh, Instagram's not for me. But actually, once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to post Instagram live videos. And again, it allows you to stream video and engage with your followers in real time. And I don't know if you're users of Instagram, but you'll see that in the top left, you've got circles. And actually, I noticed the other day that Twitter started to put live circles on the top of its page. So what Instagram Live does is it notifies your followers your broadcasting thing. It's really great for news announcements, Q&A sessions, celebrations, guest speakers, anything like that, or events you're doing. So if you want to start an Instagram Live, make sure you've got access to your organisation's Instagram account. You can see here, this is the Good Exchange one. And these are the Instagram like live stories going on. Now you have to swipe left. So swiping is you get your finger and you swipe across to the left or right, and it brings up a new page. So you can see here, you swipe left on your page and you get the camera appears. So you tap on the icon and you'll see some wording at the bottom. What you have to do is swipe left again until you see live and this circle with the sort of recording icon coming up. So you tap on the live icon and make sure to flip the camera around if you want to video not yourself. Otherwise, it'll be might be looking at you rather than what you want to record. So then the other thing is that when you start Instagram Live, both you and your followers will be notified on their phones that you're starting an Instagram Live video. So it will encourage them to go and watch. So a good thing with Instagram Live and Facebook Live is to notify your followers in advance that we're going to be doing the Olympics in the Stedman's Garden, or we're going to be climbing Everest, or we've got learn to cook or ready steady cook, and they'll be ready then hopefully to watch it going on. So when you're live on your phone, you'll see an icon so you know that you're live. So hopefully we won't get any incidents where people forget, which you read about in the paper. The other thing is people can comment. So what you want to do is really drive engagement during this process and get people to start type comments in. So it's a good idea to have somebody, when maybe you're recording on your phone live, is to have somebody else looking at any comments and answering them in real time. So you can message people privately or message everyone. You write your message and you just send it to the person. You can also send messages to all your followers by tapping that. You can see here, I was just playing with Instagram Live to get the photos, and I had 2 people join it when I wasn't even actually broadcasting. So it's obviously very powerful. You can also invite people to follow you. And again, type your message, say, we're live, follow us, see what we're doing. When you've finished, end your live video. And then again, you can share that video to your Instagram story, which is the circles across the top, and it will be there for 24 hours. So I know we're running a bit over time, but I just want to finish with Instagram stories, which I've mentioned briefly. So what this does is allow you to post photos and videos for 24 hours. So if you use Instagram, you'll see across the top the stories. I mean, my kids use it, sports clubs use it, charities use it. You can follow people. If you follow people, their stories appear at the top. And you can see if they've got a live story because the colour will change around their circle. So to make a story, you go to your page and you tap here. So this is the Good Exchange's Instagram page. If you want to upload a photo to your story, click on here. So you have to make sure if you're doing a story on your phone for your organisation and you want to use organisational photos, you need to upload them to your phone. What I tend to do is email them to myself as an attachment and then download them onto my phone. So then you've got all these different views. So you can see here you've got glitter and slideys and hearts. So you can see I chose a nice pink one. And then go to your camera and select any photos you want to use. Your image will appear that you want to use in your story. You've got options to add writing. You can either type it in or use freestyle. You've got options to add colours and fonts and labels. So you can type in your text. When you're happy with what you've done, you just tap done at the top. And then when you finish, you can draw over it freehand if you want. You can select different pens, different colours. You can play with it to your heart's delight. You can add stickers. So you can put a poll in there. I don't know if you've seen people say, do you want this or that? So this is a poll. It just has a yes or no or a this or that. It has 2 answers. So it's quite simple. You can add a GIF. So you can see we've added an emoji. We've added a hashtag. If you don't like it, just drag it into the bin. So when you're happy, at the bottom, you just tap on send to, and you then share it to your story. So then what happens is it appears, and because Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same people, you can share your story to Facebook at the same time, which is quite a useful option. So you can see here that because the Good Exchange is publishing a story at this time, the circle has changed colour. So that tells us we know we've got a live story. So if you want to see your story at any time, or anyone's story, you just tap on that circle at the top. Now, if you've got a story, the good thing is that you can add to it. So if you're doing a live event, you might want to start with a story with a photo on about, we're just about to do this, and then during the event, add to the story. So make sure you've got the photo or video you want to add on your phone. Go to your Instagram homepage on the mobile, and you have to long press your story icon. So what that means is you get your finger and you press it on the icon for a couple of seconds, because what that does is it opens and adds to your story page. So then you just have to select your photo or your video and your new image and text. And what it does is it adds it on to the back of the existing story. So then when people tap on your story, they see the first bit you put on and then the new bits come. So it keeps people engaged throughout the 24-hour period with your Instagram story. So the last thing I wanted to, a couple of things to mention. One is I wanted to mention Google Ads. So Helen talked about search engine optimization. So SEO is the free way to get people to find your website page and your fundraising project. Now, Google Ads are not free. Google Ads are like an auction. You bid money to get your advert to appear higher up in the Google search. So when you go in and search for, I don't know, so say double match day, when we're running Google Ads, double match day might appear on the side as an advert, whereas we weren't running an ad, it wouldn't appear. Now, the fantastic thing for all charitable organizations is Google offers $10,000 a month in free AdWords advertising. You have to have a live website with substantial content. You have to achieve quite a high click-through rate, but it's definitely worth, if you're familiar with Google, trying it. So I've put a link there. I mean, you've got nothing to lose, it's free. So have a go, see if it works. And I think we've got a video training on how to use Google and how to get started with Google in a Google Analytics. So if you don't know anything about Google, or if you're interested, fill in the feedback form after this webinar. We can run that one again if you're interested in that. So I just want to finish off with Elf Yourself. I don't know if you know about Elf Yourself. It's a free app where you can make a fun video of your team, and you can use it as a Christmas card, for example. So if you're not sending Christmas cards or you want free Christmas cards, you can use Elf Yourself. So you just go to elfyourself.com. You can upload up to 5 elf faces. So you can either upload it or take a photo. So you can see here, this is Julian, elf number 1. So I put Misha, me, Julian and Helen. You then add your greeting. So I put season's greetings from the Good Exchange. And then they've got different themes of videos with the music and everything already in place. So you can see here, I chose a beach because we all want to be on the beach. Or we wish we could. So I can download it. If I want to download it, it'll cost me $3.99. I think, I can just share the link for nothing. And I don't know if I'll be able to play this because I'm not sure how well it works. So I don't know if you can see it, but I'm not going to play it all. Right. That's the end of that. So you can watch it there. I put it on YouTube. But that's just a fun way for you to make a free Christmas card if you want to. Oh, right. So that's the end of the formal session. as Misha said, if you want to learn more about the Good Exchange, we've got a huge help and support and a big resources section, and also a YouTube section. So if you want to be notified when we put new social media training up, then go to YouTube and subscribe, or follow us on social media. So now we're opening up the Q&A. Oh, just before I do that, I'll leave that up there. So we've got a lot of hints and tips here, links directly to some of the things we mentioned. And as I said, we'll be sending out the slides and all the recording. So don't worry about having to write all these links down, because you'll be able to get them from the webinar. So going to open up the Q&A. Has anyone got any questions? Right, so Paul Massey, please can you send us a copy? Yes, we'll be sending everyone a copy of the slides in a link via an email. I just need to edit the video a bit, so it might take a few hours. So we've got a question from Joe. Hi, Joe, sorry. How could people set up a fundraising page for an active event, e.g. London Marathon? Who wants to answer that one?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
If you have a fundraiser, whether it's yourself or someone else who would like to become a fundraiser in support of your project in the Good Exchange by running their own personal activity, so that would be like the London Marathon, then absolutely they can do that. They would go to your project page and click on Become a Fundraiser to get started. And we have a really, really good guide now on the website that you can give to them or use yourself. It's the Fundraiser User Guide, and you can find that in the resources section or on the help and support page. Or you can just drop me an email on support@thegoodexchange.com and I'll send it over to you. What will happen when they set that, sorry Marina, what will happen when they do that is if they link themselves to your page, any donations coming through their fundraiser profile will go straight through to your project as well, and that will also take advantage of any match funding you have, and of course donors can add gift aid too if you have that set up.
So a question from Peter, with Canva, can we have more than one download? I need one and our trainers will do as well. So the way Canva works, Peter, is it's an online tool. So you get your Teams version and then you add users to it. So we've got about 4 or 5 different users in the Good Exchange team, and they all have access to it, and they can all have their own folders as well and create their own content, or you can have like one folder. So we've got folders for different things. So you just have one organization version, professional version, and the admin would add different users to it and invite them to join. They invite them to join the team. So I hope that answers your question. Let's have a look. Can we use the Good Exchange for a project to save a life, e.g. to purchase a heart defibrillator for a community centre?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely add your project on. If you're not registered already, 3 steps. The first one's to set up your login, your personal login for the Good Exchange. Second step is to register your organisation. And third step is to create your fundraising project. When that's reviewed and it goes live, it can start to automatically match with funders dependent on area and other criteria. And you'll also be able to start receiving donations. If you're already registered with us, you just log into your dashboard and start to create your project. That's a really, really good one to have on that one.
So a question from Sharon. We have our Facebook account linked to someone's personal profile. Are we able to set up an independent social media profile, or do they always need to be connected to an individual? I mean, the answer is your Facebook account has to be linked to personal profile, but the two are separate. That's right, isn't it, Misha? I mean,
it is, yeah. So you always have to start with a personal profile. And from there, you can then set up your organisation page, which is completely separate. It's really that you're linked as an administrator of your organisation's page. The two are separate, but joined so that I think it's so that Facebook know who you are, that you are an actual person and you're running that page. Once you have the page set up, you can then add other administrators. So, for example, you've got the Good Exchange, and I've got my own Facebook, Marina's got her own Facebook, Helen's got her own Facebook, and we're all linked as administrators to the Good Exchange page. So the place to start is with that person. They'll have the page set up and then be added as an administrator separately as well. But don't worry about people looking around at your own page or anything. They are separate. It's simply so that you can run the page.
But we would strongly recommend that people do have more than one administrator, because if you have only one administrator and that person leaves,
Yeah.
then we've had people who've lost their Facebook pages because they don't know how, they can't log in, and it's quite difficult to get hold of Facebook and get them to fix it. You can, but their customer service is not very proactive. So we'd recommend that you always have more than one.
Yeah.
Tracy's asked, does the same apply with your Instagram page? Can you have more than one? So we've got they're not quite the same, are they, Instagram and Facebook? You don't have to have your own Instagram account. You set up an Instagram business account for your organization, which is run separately, but we've got more than one administrator. So I'm an administrator, I think Helen is, and Misha is, so we can all post to Instagram. Although we do a lot of our posting through Hootsuite anyway, which we're all also administrators of, if that makes sense. Have we got any more questions? Can we send the slides? Yes, we will send the slides. Anyone got any more questions? I think they're all done. Can you see any more questions? No. So I think everyone's, what about stories on personal page? I found that my personal story links to Instagram, Facebook. You have to make sure when you do a story that you're logged. If you want to do a personal story, because I've done this before, my mistake is I've been logged onto the Good Exchange account and then posted something about what my children are doing. So you've got to make sure that on your phone you can set up on Instagram to be able to switch between accounts. So if I go to my Instagram and I tap on my face, which is at the bottom, and then at the top I've got my name. If I tap on my name, you probably can't see this, I've got the Good Exchange and mine and Greenham Trust accounts. So I can switch between accounts in real time on my phone. So I guess what you need to do, Joanne, is set up to access your organization's Instagram and Facebook accounts so you can access them from your phone, because Facebook works the same way for me. Although Facebook now you usually access through what's called the business suite. So I've got Facebook on my phone, which is my Facebook, and I can access the Good Exchange's Facebook from it. But what they're trying to force you to do is to go into the business suite. So it's much easier for you to install the business suite app and use that to manage your organization's Facebook. But on Instagram, I haven't seen a business suite yet. Have you, Misha?
No, not yet.
But increasingly, Facebook and Instagram, I think, will become more and more linked because they're both owned by Facebook. So I hope that answers your question. But so the important thing about Facebook and Instagram is to make sure you can see the icon for your organization when you're doing posting. Otherwise they might see what your personal comments. Not that anyone does anything secret, but you might not want them to go on your business page. So just make sure you've got the right one. Any more questions? Can you use Instagram from your phone, or can this be done from your laptop? So Tracy said, so the answer is yes, you can. I just mentioned, so we've all got Instagram on our phone and we're set up as administrators on the phone. And the interesting thing that I've noticed, I think you've noticed as well, Misha, is the functionality on the desktop and the laptop is not as good as the functionality on the phone. I think they're all trying to drive you to use the phone because the phone is where you do things that are live.
Yeah, but you can do it on the desktop if you need to, Tracy. We've done that as well. If you're struggling with the phone version, but they will try and push you to use the phone by having it a bit less functionality on the desktop version.
Yeah, but obviously doing things like live, it's more difficult to do them on a laptop. You don't want to carry a laptop around, or you can, but to be recording. So you can do it. We do it on the laptop, and you can do it on Hootsuite as well. You can schedule things via Hootsuite, although the functionality is not great because Facebook and Instagram cut a lot of the access off. When you share a story on charity on Facebook and Instagram, they link to my personal story. I think I need to get Business Suite. Yeah, they shouldn't do, should they? They shouldn't They shouldn't link to your personal story unless you're in your personal account. I think that's right, isn't it, Nisha?
Yeah, I mean, when we're on our phones using it, the way we set it up is I started with my own Instagram, and then Marina invited me to be an admin on the Good Exchange one. So I can now flick between the Good Exchange one and my own one. So it sounds like yours are maybe getting confused in some way. I would check on your phone if you can flick between the two, first of all, or have a look at the business account and see who's on there as administrators or who's able to access it. One shouldn't affect the other, they should be separate.
Christine, can you schedule posts on Instagram? Yes, you can in Hootsuite. And they've also got a new functionality for scheduling stories where you schedule it on Hootsuite and it sends you a note or something, which I did try the other day and did manage to make it work. So I scheduled it in Hootsuite, and then on Saturday morning, because obviously Instagram stories are 24 hours and you need to be on your phone. So what Hootsuite did was it sent me a note on Saturday morning, and then I had to go into Hootsuite on my phone and tap something, and it did work. A bit tricky, but I got the hang of it in the end. So they have new functionality all the time. It's always worth keeping a lookout. But yes, the answer is yes, you can with Hootsuite.
And we have a webinar on how to use Hootsuite from scratch. So if you have a look at, we've got them on the resources for these slides when you get them out, but also you can just have a look now on resources, webinars, and Hootsuite if you want to start with that.
Yeah, so Joanne, I think you might need to get business with it. I think the thing that we've noticed is that all these tools obviously want you to use theirs. So Facebook wants you to use Facebook and Instagram. Google wants you to use Google. So they're always all trying to force you to use their thing. So the business suite with Facebook is trying to push you down using the Facebook ads, because Facebook ads used to be managed by something called Facebook Ads Manager, but now they've merged all that, and now Google's got Google Ads, and it's got the whole Google thing in one thing. So you'll see that Facebook Business Suite is increasingly, I think, looking like the Google Ads Manager and things, with having it all in one place and trying to get you to spend the money, because what they want you to do is spend your money with them rather with their competitors. But if you're smart, you can use a lot of these tools for nothing, and that's what we're trying to help charities to do, is to spend as little money as possible with these great big organizations that have lots of functionality. So that's the goal. So I think we haven't got any more questions, have we? No, can't see any more. So we just like to say thank you very much to everyone for joining and for all your excellent questions. And thanks to Helen, Nisha and Julian. So we'll get on with editing the video and send it out to you as soon as we can. So thanks very much, everyone.
And Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, have a great Christmas. Thank you.
Okay.